You're relaxing at home when your HOA board shows up demanding to use your private pool for their meetings. You say no, so they call the cops on you. That's exactly what happened to me. And what I did next completely destroyed Karen's reputation. Here is what happened. Let's dive right into the video. And the title story is called HOA Karen Called Cops Because I Denied the HOA Board Access to My Private Pool. So I live in a pretty generic cookie-cutter suburban area, like a lot of places, sadly. These days, there's also an HOA in the area. I'm not a member of it, which partially means for me that I don't get to partake in their amenities. The only real amenity in question being a small park I don't even care about. However, it is worth it not to be in the HOA since I don't want to deal with their strict rules. Like, they even have rules about the style and color your mailbox can be. Like, seriously, I'm sorry, but who the hell cares about that kind of stuff? It is a mailbox. You get bills and ads stuffed inside of it. There's no reason to police it. Now, my home has a private fence pool in the backyard. Not a huge or fancy one like rich people have, but I still think it's really nice. I paid for the entire thing. I own the entire thing. And most importantly, I want to point out that it is completely compliant with state and county laws. I crossed the T's and dotted the L's when I got it. Also, despite me not liking the HOA, I'm mostly cordial with my neighbors. I wouldn't consider any of them my friends, but I know their names and I say hello. I think for a neighbor that is considered good enough. There is a member on the HOA board, though, that lives down my block that is just a Karen. There really is no other way to describe it how she looks and acts outside of Karen. She thinks roots are above anything else and that she is super important. One thing I can mention is that she is known for overstepping boundaries, like seeing people having a party and kind of just walking in to say hi, but then grabbing a plate and basically inviting herself, things like that. She also had a tendency to send these really weird reminders to everybody, even me that is not in the HOA. Things like, it's going to snow. Remember to keep the sidewalks clear of snow. Just annoying things that made me feel like she was talking down to everybody like we were 5 years old and didn't know how to own a home. Karen showed up at my door with 2 other board members who I had never met or seen before. I thought I was about to get a lecture about joining the HOA. Or since I didn't know who the other people were, maybe Karen had joined some group going door to door to see if I wanted to bring Jesus into my life or something. Maybe a reason she could have been there. I could have had 20 guesses and been wrong. Karen, hello. The HOA board has put something to a vote and decided on a new meeting spot for our monthly board meetings. Me? Okay. I'm not on the board or even a member of the HOA. You don't really need to tell me this, Karen. Well, actually, we do. See, we decided that your pool is the perfect place for our meetings, that IT has great ambience, and it won the vote. I actually thought I was being punked and started to laugh. The look I got was as if I laughed at the news that somebody had died. She looked horrified at the other. Special if she cannot forget about me. It was a crap letter threatening to fine me for failure to cooperate with HOA activities. As if I was actively protesting their meeting or stopping it from happening altogether somehow. However, I was not going to just sit and wait for anything to happen. So, I contacted a lawyer. I basically Googled lawyers that deal with HOAs and called the first number I found. He confirmed that I was right, and the HOA had no ground to threaten me or force me to use my pool. They had zero jurisdiction over my pool and no right to even fine me since I was not a member. That did not stop Karen from sending me petty fines for things, though, like trash bins being too visible. Sorry, Karen. I will just hide them in a tree or something. Don't you know that all the cool kids just use a ray gun to get rid of their trash instead of putting it out in bins? Sorry, I'm a little too sarcastic as a person by nature. I saved all of those fines, too, finding the urge to tear them to shreds. The nasty looks I got from her did not even bother me, which I think in turn bothered her more. It was as if she was obsessed with me and everybody knew it and was talking about it. I want to do something big just to piss off Karen. Nothing that would get me in trouble, though. So, I was not going to egg her house or slash her tires. Plus, those were things that I did about 20 years ago. I had up my game for my teenage years. Despite not being close with the people around me, I decided to throw a massive pool party. I invited every neighbor within like 3 blocks of me aside from Karen, of course. She was not invited and would not be getting in, along with a few others that I knew Karen was close with and might cause chaos on her behalf. More people showed up than I would have thought too. I was encouraging everybody to take photos and post them on Facebook pages I knew existed for the town and the HOA community. I wanted Karen to have no way to miss the party was happening, and she fell for the bait. She showed up expecting that she was going to be let in. I turned her away at the door and told her that this was a private party. No invite, no entry. She was angry, but the very public turning her away really started to get people talking. They wanted to know what the beef was, and those that knew about her being obsessed with me were happy to share. I made a post online, too, thanking people that are members of the HOA for knowing the difference between a private pool and an HOA space. The comments on that post were fantastic to read, and I wish I still had the post show comments, but it was reported and removed sadly. The rumor mill was sweet, though, and the truth was the main thing going around. So is it still a rumor if it is just a real story? This all got back to the HOA president, who I don't think even knew anything happened after Karen turned up with her and the police that day. She was fed up with Karen and all the backlash it was causing the HOA as a whole. I found out that during a board meeting, the president basically handed Karen her own ass on a silver platter. She was not going to just let Karen overstep and cause problems. It was a waste of HOA resources, and it made the entire HOA board look bad. So then Karen was voted off of the board, and now was just an everyday normal person. A nightmare for a Karen to have no power. She couldn't get back at people by being petty, and she couldn't even defend herself. People still talked about the police incident and the pool party. She had made an entire fool of herself. And since I know I will get people asking in the comments, no, I did not sue the HOA for the BS fines or harassment charges. As soon as Karen was gone, I was reassured by the HOA president that they would not be pushed. She seemed nice enough, though. I only wanted revenge on Karen, suing the HOA when she wasn't even on the board any longer.